So let's go through a couple of problems now and use all the congruence theorems to try to determine if these triangles are congruent. So we need to state if the two triangles are congruent in each case. Let's take a look at the first case. So we've got two triangles that are sharing a common side, and we know that common side is congruent to itself. So we can make that X mark, which is sort of a way of saying it's congruent to itself. And let's see what we've got on the left triangle here. We've got a side, which is congruent to this side. We've got an angle congruent to this angle, and we've got a side on this side. So on the left triangle, we have side, angle, side. And now let's look at the right triangle. We also have two sides congruent and an angle, but it's in a different configuration, right? The angle is not between the two congruent sides, but rather we have a side angle like configuration. So this is side angle. So these are not congruent triangles. We'll put a big line through that congruent sign. They're not congruent because it's not side angle side and side angle side, but it's side angle side and side angle, which doesn't match. Remember, corresponding parts of triangles have to be congruent. In this case, they do not match. Let's take a look at the second problem here. We've got two right triangles, one on the top and one on the bottom. And we know that the shared side is congruent to itself. So if, like, we were going to draw this as, try to sort of separate out the two triangles, it would look a little bit like this. We'd have a right triangle on the top, this side congruent, and we'd have a right triangle on the bottom, and this side would be congruent to this side, and this side would be congruent to this side, okay, because the side is congruent to itself. So on the top, we have hypotenuse congruent to hypotenuse, and we have leg congruent to leg. So we have corresponding hypotenuses and corresponding legs of the two triangles that are congruent to each other. They are both right triangles, so this is congruent. These two triangles are congruent. So triangle 1 would be congruent to triangle 2 by hypotenuse leg. Let's take a look at the third problem here. We've got ourselves here two triangles again. We're given that this angle is congruent to this angle, and this side is congruent to this side. But I hope you see right away that we also have vertical angles. So we can say that this angle is congruent to this angle because vertical angles have equal measure or are congruent. So let's look at the top triangle and figure out what is the pattern of congruence there. Well, it is angle, angle, side. Okay, and on the bottom, it's also angle, angle, side. And it's very important to notice also that the congruent angle is adjacent to the side that's congruent here, and this corresponding congruent angle down here is adjacent to the side that is congruent. So we have the same pattern of congruence. We have angle, angle, side in both. So we can say that the first triangle is congruent to the second triangle because of angle, angle, side. Okay, let's look at triangle number 4, the set of triangles number 4. Again, it's very similar, right? We've got vertical angles, and we've got angle, angle, side on the top, and angle, angle, side on the bottom. And you can see it's the same corresponding angle and side that are adjacent to each other, that are next to each other. So again, this is congruent. We can say triangle 1 is congruent to triangle 2 because of angle, angle, side. Let's go on to number 5. Triangles, again, are on the top and on the bottom. And we've got this common side that is congruent. So let me sort of separate these triangles out a little bit so we can see what things would look like if we looked at them as separate triangles. My drawing's not perfectly to scale, sorry. But we've got this angle congruent to this angle, that top angle congruent to the bottom one, and this side congruent to this side. So again, we've got angle, angle, side on the top. We've got angle, angle, side on the bottom. and the side is congruent. The side is adjacent to the angle with the two bars, just like it is down here. So we have the same pattern of congruence, and we can say triangle 1 is congruent to triangle 2 because of angle, side.